Well, hey there, team. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to some more Stationeers. Just really quickly, like I said, some of the devs watched this, and one Peter jumped in and said that they accidentally have a bit of a glitch in the weather system in this game. Apparently, once a storm comes through, it will not spawn minerals below the ground or something like that. I'm sure they're working on fixing it, but I thought I'd pass that along for people. I know there's a chunk of you from the community that watch my videos, so maybe it's worth knowing. And, you know, these things happen. It can be rough being a developer. And even me, the guy that adamantly hates the mining in this game and will tell anyone any chance he gets, I still appreciate, you know, them passing that along and that these things can happen and it's an unintended consequence of patching the game. Anyway, so where were we? We basically, I should put this down and stop threatening the walls with it. We've got the cooling systems. People were talking about automation. That's all good and well. Something that we did on the last, like, I'm all for building automation, but I also found that if you plug in the actual fixed coolant machine, which we did on the moon, you could just set a temperature and fire and forget, and it would do it all. And that's so much easier. So that's probably something we'll work towards. It's not that bad just fiddling with all the little knobs and keeping this maintained. All that's really going to happen is we're going to have to squeeze some cold air into it every now and then, but it should be just like every other farm that we've run before. And we've got quite a lot of new people as well. And, you know, I appreciate them saying that they're enjoying the series or that they like, you know, ask for help and that sort of stuff. Feel free to ask. A lot of the community is really, really friendly. So we'll work together and help you through it. Anyway, so if we have a look here, our external pressure is 13 kPa and we're at 0 degrees Celsius. Now, if memory serves me, but potatoes, we're going to want 14 plus degrees, 14, 15, probably say around about 20 to be safe. Pressure, you probably wouldn't need more than 20 kPa. So we're actually getting kind of close. How bad's my suit? 44%? It's all right. Now, the danger of doing what we're doing here, all this fiddling around and fucking around with these, is that our mediocre grid that's not charging through the night is probably paying the price. So we'll go check on this. Set inward. Let's draw that in. Scarlet, why didn't you wire up the doors? I dare you. I dare you to write that comment. Look at this. That's what I'm talking about. So, got to keep an eye on that. Though we've got the sun coming over the hill. You know what? We will actually juice it up with the coal. Just because I want to put a better battery in. Oh, was that the last of our coal? It must have been. I think I only put a little nominal amount in there in the beginning, if I recall correctly. Yeah. Oh, okay, that automatically goes back on. Interesting. Yeah, so things you might not realize is you can actually change, I think it's through the 1 setting. No, you can only flush there, but you can go in and change, or maybe it's through 2 or 3. There you go, you can change the pressure and temperature of your suit, and it's got air conditioning, filtering, all these. It's actually got a pretty robust suite of life support stuff going on. That'll probably do, because I'll just switch the battery and let the sun do the rest. So having probably having an even if I don't want to take my suit off, but having an atmosphere that's at a reasonable amount, it's going to actually cut back a lot on the power usage for managing my suit, for like temperature and life support. I think on the cold planet, you actually chew through your batteries fast. One, because they're batteries and cold will do that, but also because they're trying to maintain your body temperature as well in an extra cold environment. So we're pretty good. The only thing, I guess, let's, you know, actually get this done. Put my iPad in. That's interesting. Because I've got the iPad in the way, I can't see the... Well, that's interesting. See how I've got active vent on? You know, it's giving me a little tooltip for the crosshair. Not so much when I've got the iPad up. I wonder if that's intended. So we'll draw that in. Bit of the warmer air. Yeah, so we'll take in a bit and off we go. Now, someone suggested, I don't think it was on the last comment. I won't bore you with the details of running the studio on my end of YouTube, but if you put comments up, they go straight into a feed. It's sort of like a Twitter news feed sort of thing for me. So I read the comments pretty much by date that they get posted, not necessarily by video that they're on, though it normally works out the more recent videos are the ones getting more recent comments. So someone put up a comment on a Stationeers video, but I don't think it was recent, saying you could always use mods to up the yield for mining to deal with my issue with mining. To which I would say, I am very much on the record of saying I dislike mods. I don't like the existence of mods in the community. We held council on a satisfactory stream last night, actually, for about an hour talking about that, which you can check out if you want. But it's in my members section. I archive all my streams. But essentially, I don't do mods because I think it's work product that developers don't pay for. And the smartest thing that the industry ever did was convince people to make mods for free for developers. But that's just the broad stroke. I'm not necessarily trying to open that up. But I guess what I was going to say is I don't like the mining in this game. Yes, and I'll whinge about it, and that's my right. I'll use my platform. If you don't have YouTube, you might have a Twitter. You can whinge about the things you don't like. This is life, right? But I'm not going to stopgap fix what I think's a problem with a free mod that someone from the community did. I'll just continue to complain about the problem and back it with what I think is the merits of my complaints. And if the devs ever change it, then they change it. And if they don't, well, fine. And if it ever gets too much that we don't play the game because of it, that should be on the devs. It shouldn't be on the community to fix a problem. And I think, yeah, people are too quick to go, oh, this game's okay, but if I take 50 mods that all these dudes fixed it unpaid for, then it's going to be better. No, I think at that point you move on to the next game, and the developers should learn from the loss in sales to adapt from it. Anyway, I don't want to go on too much. We spoke about it for like an hour last night. Long story short, I'm not going to mod this game because I don't like the mining to make the mining easy for me. And also there's another aspect as a YouTuber showcasing this game, because at the end of the day, I'm still showing you this game. I'm hoping you buy it and support the devs. I'm part of the industrial process. I'm aware of this. So I'm not going to misrepresent this game by modding it and making it seem what it's not. If the mining's a shit part of this game, that you have to be sold on that, not on the adjusted version. Anyway, so where are we at? Where's the pressure? Well, we're going to have to actually drop that. Sorry. I know, a little rant, as I am wont to do. Okay, look, it's starting to settle. I wonder if as it zips through and sort of bounces back around, will we get a pressure surge back up this end of the base? Do you know what I mean? I think we're empty. We are. Okay, well, it might take a little bit more than what I thought. Let's get that heating element going. Also get a bit of greenhouse effect from this sun as well. That'll be heating it up. All right, what we might do to speed this along, I'll leave that heater run for a sec. I'll even leave that fan run for a moment. Change my battery. Close this up. Open. Well, actually turn that off. Reverse cycle. Put some more into the system. That's interesting because the flow of air in this is, let's say, slow. It's still, I think it's actually deliberate is the correct term, right? You can see the particles move, and to fill this space, it takes quite a while, right? But in that instantaneous moment when you dump out a fan like this and all of a sudden you jump up to 30 kPa, I'd be curious, even though this end of the room probably is like 15 kPa, if you had enough in these pipes, would you burst this airlock? Because these walls can only take 100 kPa, I think it is. So it'd be interesting if you could over-pressurize a corner of a room, even though the far corner of the room is like fucking zero pressure. It's a side effect of the deliberately slow pace that the gases seem to sort of propagate. All right, 14 degrees. I think 14's warm enough. Well, we'll hit 16. We'll probably just paste that there. Moment of truth. Here we go. Potatoes. Here we go. Bloody invincible little buggers. 15 degrees, 17 kPa. Pressure might be a bit light. Let's pop one in and see what happens. Looks good to me. Potatoes going. But I almost should have put it in bad conditions for the people that are new, because it gets a little, like when you mouse over here, it gives you a little health bar. It's more like a death bar. It's full and it just ticks backwards from right to left. And it will tell you, you know, plant is withering. I think for a split second when I plant it, you can see them pop up. Yeah, it has no sunlight, that sort of thing. Okay. So they seem pretty happy with these conditions. So all that's going to do is heat this room more, right? Which will have probably a very, very insignificant amount of effect on the pressure, but it will nonetheless. And that's one thing that we just got to watch, that it doesn't overheat. These suckers can go up to like 30 degrees, I think, but we'll still manage it. You can usually leave this go, at least the small room, you can leave go for like 2 days. In a room like this, you could probably leave this go for ages. But they grow in 24 hours, generally speaking, at least on the sun's rotation on the moon. It'll be curious because we put them so late in the day. We're going to be out of whack. So we might even just leave them run for a full cycle tomorrow and then harvest them tomorrow night. Tomorrow in the game. That way we could probably get into a rhythm where we get a harvest each night. Yeah. I guess the only other thing that we got to be careful of is letting cold air in when I cycle the airlock. Shouldn't be that bad. I guess the real problem is that these pipes will be exposed to the night air. So we will be introducing a cold component, which actually might act as a coolant to maintain this system. Let me show you what I'm thinking. So we go out, right? We close the door. We drain this room, set inward. We turn it off. Go about our business and all this sort of stuff. Oh, well, actually, there's not much. Oh, fuck me. Well, there's the storm. Oh, man. Oh, wow. Do I take damage or anything like that? The temperature's low. Oh, my goodness. All right, you move with the storm fairly fast and against it not so much. Holy shit. Geez, they weren't fucking around, were they? Alright, pressure's still the same, which is interesting. Still same external pressure, same external temperature. Visibility is gone, and movement is gone. That's pretty much it. Huh. Okay, that's... I mean, it is just a, I don't want to say gimmick, but like an event. It would probably be a bit of an ask for them to have, it change temperature and pressure sort of differential in the wake of the storm. That'd be very difficult to do because it's not like they're simulating the entire planet or anything like that. This is crazy though, the visibility. Holy heck. So what happens if I, let's split stack on this ore. It won't let me... Don't you press R to split stack? Oh, here you go. Split one. Oh. Off it goes, man. Split one. Oh my goodness, yeah. Shit, you gotta batten down the hatches. Now, how long does the storm go for? There's the big question. Our coal still seems to be staying in the refinery. In fact... Oh, shit. Don't jump. Oh, hang on, we got a problem. We got a big problem. I gotta turn this jetpack off. Alright, so jetpacking's not really an option. Oh, this is a small problem. So navigating back to your base without jumping, that introduces a problem. Okay. Oh, that's crazy. What a force of habit. Fuck. Alright, was that just slowly pushing me just then? You bastard. So let's say we split one. We'll put... At least you can move things into your inventory. Split one, right? I'm gonna put this in that. Okay, well, that doesn't fall out or anything like that, so that's good news. Oh. And it's gone. Okay, that wasn't so bad. That was pretty cool, I like it. I like it a lot. I really like the idea of natural disasters, SimCity style. Like, how about you build a base and then we get hit by fucking asteroids, or I guess they'd be meteors here, right? But, and blows holes through your base, because that's something we did in previous series where I was coming up with pretty robust redundancy systems for, like, safety sealing, access, that sort of stuff. But because the game's pretty passive, that was more just an exercise in fun. Anyway, cool. So I guess, yeah, the problem with this airlock, even though this is only a temporary solution, is when you go the ingress part, right? We close this and we have some negative 70 degree at 1 kPa air involved that's going to go into this system, essentially. So we're going to introduce that, but how much could it really affect it, you know? Potatoes wilting, has no sunlight, and that's fine, that's to be expected. There are hydroponic kits that can deal with that. What we do need to remember is to always drain this when we come in, because otherwise every time I'm going to be taking a gulp of air out of it. Set outward. That should be it. We've got to constantly recycle it. So yeah, it's just a normal airlock, except there's a few manual parts involved. All right, cool. Now I don't know how often the storms come, but we're good. We've got food, and we've got power. You know, on a basic scale, we've got enough. So we're kind of sitting pretty. So options. I'm open to suggestions from chat, like where we go next, what we're going to work towards. As far as like shoring up a base sort of thing, I suppose we could really lean hard into actually getting a breathable atmosphere. That's not something that I've ever really worked on, but I guess I'd be open to it. In order to do that, I suppose we'd have to make a hab that was separate from the hydroponics. Though we can grow potatoes in a breathable atmosphere. I mean, we've been doing it for a while on Earth. So we could just work towards maybe changing the atmosphere in this to a breathable one, and potentially having a scenario where you can take your suit off. It'd save power and all that sort of thing. Or at the very least open your helmet and that, and you wouldn't have to go through filters. You'd be able to use the passive air. It's a bit of a step forward. We also need to get some more industry up, like furnaces and that sort of thing. Something that we probably want to do as soon as possible if we're going to keep using this furnace is trying to capture the gas. Actually, a gas capture system seems bloody sensible to me. All right, okay, so let's have a think here. What have we got? We've got CO2, O2. How much of that O2 is the natural environment, though? That's something I'm not 100% across. Set inward. Like, that can't be right, right? So there is trace amounts of oxygen on Mars? Really? Okay. I'll take your word for it. So hypothetically, we could have a big, robust air intake system, right? That filters all these gases down. We've got N2, so, you know, we've got our nitrogen filler type. We've got CO2, which is poisonous in that volume, but ultimately in that atmosphere, and we've got the pollutant, which is poisonous even at that volume as well, I think. At 1%, it's poisonous to us. But say we were drawing infinite amounts in intake, right, and then sorting them into their categories and recombining them into an atmosphere, we have an infinitely breathable, if filtered correctly, atmosphere to draw from, which excites me a lot, because if it was moon or whatever, then you have to rely on melting ores and all that sort of stuff. But we do have this trace O2. And it is trace, 0.1 mole. Yeah. I just want to make sure it's not coming off of me, or it's coming out, because the plants will be generating a tiny bit of O2 themselves. Yeah. So what would be the first thing that we would want to do in the course of all of this? Well, I suppose we want to start harvesting atmosphere, right? So let's look into, I suppose we could do fixed tanks instead of these mobile tanks. I haven't really used fixed tanks because, I mean, I guess they've got higher capacity, but I like the utility of being able to unplug your tanks and move them all around. It'd be a good place to start. Let's have a look. So this might be the beginning of the next project. I mean, unless there are any objections or fair points against it. Portable tank, tank connector. See, kit tank insulated. Portable tank advanced. Alright. You're going to hit me for steel, are ya? Alright, well. I mean, I guess we're going to have to make steel at some point. Like, we can't avoid it forever. But we can try. Portable tank, iron. That's cool. And the tank connector, we've already built one, so must be iron as well. Okay, so we can do it with portable tanks and tank connectors. That can be a thing. Just like what we've got there. Like that O2 tank's just going to be a panic tank. If we never use it, we'll be happy, right? It's not going to be part of this system. Right, so we need to draw in air. I guess we could do it with a... Well, you couldn't really do it with a passive vent. Could you? If you had a... If we had a back pressure regulator, we could do it with a passive vent. That'd be an interesting way of doing it. I mean, with an active vent, you could just turn it off. But if you had a back pressure regulator and you set it to 0, it should perpetually pump through a passive vent, right? Probably at a more reasonable rate as well. The thing with the active vent is that thing's going to be sucking like a motherfucker. Yeah. I wonder, so we also had the storm come from that direction. I wonder if it's always going to come from that direction as well. We could potentially set up, well, not here. Maybe we start setting up a new facility sort of over here on the side. So maybe send a gantry out there. And we create a... Because the other thing is turbines, right? Which no doubt will take steel, right? How do I get to the turbine? The research isn't implemented in this, is it? Maybe I need to upgrade the... Oh no, here you go. Upright wind turbine? What is this bullshit? Turbine generator is presumably what we were using previously, right? It was just a pass-through with the power out. solder. Still, that's going to require... What is this? Wind turbines, eh? Iron, gold, and copper. Oh, how can I not investigate this? Wait, do we really have no... Oh, we just need more. Enclosing this facility so that we could use it through the storm. I'm curious how long that the storms go for. It'd be good if they could go for like 3 days or something like that. That'd really make me play the game properly. This gold will take a little while to cook. But yeah, I suppose we should be trying to encase everything, right? Yeah, so the turbines, for those that haven't followed previously, they take up like a wall panel like this, and it's a giant fan, essentially, and it has a little power attachment just like these doors, right? And the idea is that as wind passes through it, it turns the turbine to pass through and you can generate from it. The reason I mention that is if I'm going to create some sort of passive vent or active vent, and I'm going to attach it to a back pressure regulator, which is probably what I'm going to do, the passive, because then it draws it in at not the fastest rate ever. You've seen these active vents, they fucking go. And we draw that in, the back pressure regulator is set to 0, so it's going to perpetually draw in gas. It might stop start, because remember we were making a 0 vacuum really easily in here because of the low pressure, so it might just keep constantly flicking on and off. I'm not sure. To fill up our gas catchment, but the thing is that should actually create a flow pattern even from that tiniest little vacuum as it backfills into there. If we're sensible about it, we could enclose it in such a way, we could probably wall up all these sides and make that it draws from a certain direction. And then we can put a turbine there, so we would actually have a redraw. Because it's, even though it's using power to create that suction, we would be able to recoup a tiny amount on the turbine. And it's probably a good idea to have that turbine during the, what's it called? During the storm. I mean, I guess I could surround it in all directions with turbines, totally enclose it in a turbine cage sort of thing, and just draw in and let it draw from wherever it draws from. Yeah. It'd have to be enclosed in some way, whether it's all turbines or one turbine and walls. Because if you just had a passive vent here and a turbine here, there's no guaranteeing that the draw will pass through there. And it's sort of making an artificial wind tunnel, you know, it's not like it runs on its own or anything. Creating upright wind turbine. Let's see. Let's see what this is about. Very cool. Where do we put you, sir? Probably stay away from the sun and all that, though elevation would be cool. I can't really interfere with that. I mean, maybe, like, is that still generating? 57% at that tight angle. I know that once it got down to here, it was getting 0. Oh, well, you definitely can't interfere with that one, can you? This thing here. Having said that, it will encroach on the turbine. So maybe we could put it like here at the end. This might be the safest spot. Now look how you're designed. It's like merger splitters in Satisfactory. 1, 2, 3. Tiny overhang there. 1, 2. Now you could fit 4 in a spot. If you really did want to have them up close to each other. I'm not sure you would. Look at that, it's very cool. No, we've only got 3 cables, so we've got a little bit of work to do. Alright, cool. First storm survived. That wasn't bad. I like it. Alright, a little bit of theory crafting, a little bit of rambling, but that's because we're sitting pretty, you know? Now we have a point where we can think about our more pie-in-the-sky maneuvers. Oh, what happened here? Seems I've accidentally killed my crops. I wonder what I did there. I'm not sure, I haven't checked on them. I was going to leave them go for a day. We might have to investigate that on the next one. That's not very good because that's 4 potatoes gone. I'm sure we'll get to the bottom of it. Alright team, thanks again for joining me. Might just leave it there for the time being and I'll catch you guys on the next one.